Hello, beautiful people. It's your girl Neyssa with XPansive Taste, and today we're talking about casual sex. We're talking about the sexual revolution and how it was pretty damaging. We're getting straight to the point, and before I just talk about how damaging it was and where feminism got it wrong and gave us really, really bad advice, let's talk about the pros, okay? I wrote some things down. Some good things about the sexual revolution was just the general idea that sex is a woman's right, okay? First of all, consent. Yes, consent. Consent is great. I'm glad we talked about consent and we understand that it's okay for a woman to say no and it's okay to say yes, and I need you to respect that. Anyways, next amazing thing on the list, we gotta talk about the idea of woman's pleasure. Oh my goodness, that is so great. Sex is no longer just about what a man wants, about how he gets off, how he gets taken care of, and it's no longer just for making kids, but it's also to please the woman, okay? We like that idea. This is the time where men discovered the clitoris, you know? Imagine a world where no one knew what the clitoris was and what it did and how it helped women. Wow. We're happy about that. We're really happy that men know about the clitoris. We're also happy that we know about cunnilingus, aka eating out the pee. Anyways, that was really great. I am so happy that men now know that you can eat her out and please her, and that's something she's going to enjoy and really appreciate you for. And you are selfish if you never do it. Another good thing is contraception. I think it's so great that as a woman, you can just enjoy yourself and also not fear getting pregnant because, as much as children are a blessing, they do not always come at a good time, and you sometimes have to protect yourself from experiencing something that will be too difficult to bear at the time. And like contraceptions aren't really always perfect. Birth control in general, like the hormonal ones, really, really bad for your health. It's never comfortable. It always changes like who you are as a person, causing depression and shit. They say it'll like clear up your skin, but you can do that by just drinking water, whatever. Um But the general attitude towards practicing safe sex is amazing. And I think it's great that you can at least use a condom. You, as a woman, can have condoms in your drawer, and it is okay because that is for your safety, okay? Now, we're going to talk about where it went wrong and why the feminism sexual revolution movement, it lied to you, okay? It lied to you when they said that a woman can have sex and be completely detached from having feelings and developing feelings with the guy she is or the person she's engaging this activity with, okay? There is no amount of mental gymnastics you can put through and no amount of conditioning that you can process through for you to just completely ignore biology. Biology will tell you something different. You cannot change that. You, as a woman, when you sleep with someone, when you are enjoying it, even just a little bit, you don't even have to orgasm. It could be 8 minutes of just awkward, and then just 30 consecutive seconds of something good, and you're still going to feel attached to that person. The hormone oxytocin is no lie, and I speak from experience. Usually, if you decide to sleep with someone, you're going to develop some sort of attachment to them. The only way this doesn't happen is if you have enough conviction in you and you have enough of an ick from the guy. You have to find him completely repulsive. You have to be so unattracted to him. You have to be so disgusted by his genetics that you're just like, ew, I could never have a relationship with you. I can't stand the idea of having children with you. And that's the only way you're not going to have feelings. That's the only way. He has to be completely repulsive. Even if that is the route you choose to go and you just have a very unattractive friends with benefit, you're not going to feel good about the interaction. Like, yeah, he may be really good at eating you out and whatever, but at the end of the day, you just feel gross leaving the situation. So why put yourself through that? So here's the thing, women like sex and women get horny. But definitely not horny like the guys do. It's just not the same. It's definitely not the same. When a woman and a man decide to come together and Netflix and chill, chill means very different things. Chill for him means I am horny, I want sex, and I will do everything I can in order to convince her to have sex with me. Meanwhile, chill for a woman can often just mean I just want to chill. Because the thing is, you agreed to this situation not because you were that horny. No, what you felt was loneliness, it was boredom, it was you being anxious and just wanting to fill your time with something that could be relaxing. You wanted to do this for an escape. You just wanted to like clear your mind and relax. And his way of clearing his mind and relaxing is by emptying the load inside of him. He has been thinking about sex all day, and all he wants to do is bust a nut, okay? He clearly wants sex, but you don't really need it. He could make you horny and you could kind of like want to have sex because of it, but really what you were looking for wasn't that. You were craving connection, you were craving intimacy, you were craving love and respect, you were craving a moment that could be shared that is beautiful and that could mean sex, but it really doesn't have to mean that. And it really is just not a good situation when you feel like you have to trade sex in order to get some sort of male validation, in order to get some attention and some quality time, which it's Netflix and chill is not quality time at all. And when it comes to casual sex, that's really all that's happening. You're trading sex in order to get some sort of attention from a guy. And it feels good to have that attention. And it feels really good to be the main focus in a situation and to feel like you're being pursued and you're wanted. That is really what you're craving. And the thing is, you can get that without giving him what he is asking for. Really, like, you can get that without putting out. And it's not going to work with every guy. Not every guy is going to be willing to stick around and just, entertain you and just be sweet and romantic and whatnot, give you attention. A lot of guys will not do all that if he knows he's not getting some. You're just going to have to find a guy who wants the same thing that you do and is willing to wait until you're comfortable with him before that boundary is crossed. And when you do cross that boundary with a guy who never had the intention of forming something more with the relationship, like, you're going to have feelings for him, some sort of attachment. You might even trick yourself into thinking that you're in love or whatever. Um, that's going to happen, and he's just going to eventually discard you. It could be a one-time thing. He could just be like, yeah, this is going to be a one-night stand, and he's just never going to return your text after that. Or he could make it drag as long as he wants to, because he knows that whenever he needs to bust a nut, he can just contact you, and you're going to put up with it. You're going to put up with being just pretty much disposable. And I know this because it is part of my story. I had to learn this lesson just too many times, and I don't want you to have to go through the same thing. I'm going to get a lot more personal in order for you to understand where I'm coming from. This is a huge trigger warning. I'm going to talk about sexual assault. So if you're not ready to hear about this, that is completely fine. You can click out of the video, you can skip 5 minutes or whatever. I have no idea how long I'm going to talk about this. But yeah, so let's just start. When I was 17, I was raped, and it was to a guy that I lost my virginity to. So it wasn't the first time that we did it. It was more like, he was a F buddy. He wasn't my boyfriend or anything. It was just, I had this grand idea that I wanted to lose my virginity. I just picked this random guy that used to have a crush on me in middle school. We were both 17 at the time or whatever. And so it was like, I don't know, maybe like the fifth time we decided to engage. And Long story short, the situation started as consensual, but then I started to feel very uncomfortable, and I expressed that multiple times, like, hey, this doesn't feel good, it hurts, or whatever. And then he didn't listen to me, tried to walk away, blah blah blah. He raped me. So after that situation, I didn't want to believe it happened. I didn't, for many reasons. I just didn't want to believe that it happened. I couldn't accept that that was what happened to me. I didn't like the R word. I didn't like, the thought that I could be a victim. I tried to make it seem as small as possible because, he didn't hit me. He didn't kidnap me. Like, it's not like this was our first time. It started as consensual. How bad can it really be? So I made it a really small issue, even though it was a really big issue. And I kind of just like blocked it out of my head. And I actually continued to sleep with him. And honestly, it's like after that, it's like every situation afterwards was just very degrading. But I continued to sleep with him because I didn't want to believe that it was true. I didn't want to believe that he could treat me like I'm worthless. And I just kind of wanted to see if there would be a flip. I just wanted to see the switch so bad and pretend like, it was just a fluke and that he actually valued me and respected me. I wasn't like, it wasn't even like about love. I just needed to at least feel respected and worthy of something, worthy of, him showing me that I could be pleased. But that never happened, and eventually we just stopped. But ever since then, I kind of went through a period where I kind of wanted to prove to myself that I was worthy, and that the way I did that was not really, the best way. Some people, whenever they experience something like this, they can react differently. Some people, they decide, they have a hard time ever having sex again, and they just like don't do it. Or have a hard time doing it. And then for me, I just became very promiscuous. In order for me to like minimize the pain I was experiencing, I had to believe that sex was just like no big deal. And so it was like pretty much just like shaking hands, like it's no big deal. But I also wanted to prove so bad that I was worthy of love and respect and pleasure. So what would happen is that I would get into a situation with a guy and I would think, okay, I know what he wants, but if I can prove that I'm worthy of pleasure, respect, and I don't know, just anything that isn't what happened back there, then it's fine and I can redeem myself and feel more powerful because of it. I don't have to feel weak and small and whatever. So I would engage in that behavior or whatever. I would sleep with them, and then what would happen is that like I would feel, a little good about myself for one moment, and but then eventually it would just like it just turned into a bad cycle where, I would feel good for like a little moment. I will feel loved, that oxytocin, for a little moment, but then I would come to an understanding where I would realize, oh, he doesn't really like me. He doesn't really value me that much. He doesn't want to take me out. He doesn't want to be seen with me. He doesn't want to talk to me or just hang out with me normally. And, that kind of hurts. And I don't even know if he knows my name. Does he remember my name? I would feel that, and then I would realize, oh, I was just disposable to him. Like, he got what he wanted, and now he doesn't need me anymore, and now I feel like a worthless whore. And then I'd feel really low about myself, and I'd want to prove that I'm not that. Like, I just kept feeling like a worthless whore. That's what I called myself all the time. And so I would just be like, okay, well, how do I prove I'm not a worthless whore? I have to find another guy who's going to think that I'm special, and he's going to get what he wants, but he's also going to see how special I am, and he's going to make me feel good. And so I do it, and then the same thing would happen again. He doesn't really like me. He's not really, treating me like he did the first time we met. And, it's not really even, it hasn't been consistent. He's not deciding to just like, turn this friends with benefit situation into a romantic situation. And it's just, it hurts. And then, you just keep doing the same thing. Same thing. It does not matter how cool and awesome you are if he never had the intention of dating you and being a committed relationship with you. He's not going to treat you specially. He's going to treat you disposable. It doesn't matter. If you give it to him too easy, his male biology will tell him that you're not someone to be taken seriously. That's just how it is. Your biology tells you to connect with someone you sleep with. His biology tells him she's not worth it. She's not something I have to work hard for. So what do we do in order to combat this? Is the solution to be celibate? Well, kind of, but also not really. I don't think that's the answer. Celibacy has just never worked for me, so I can't give you advice on that. A lot of people who are going to say casual sex is damaging, or they're going to say that you should just wait for marriage. And that's just a fairy tale way of thinking, because the only people where it's going to be relatively easy in order for this to happen is for the people that are already virgins, and they don't know how good sex feels. So they will have an easier time getting to that goal. But also in very specific situations, it's going to work for the people who are ready. It's going to work for the people who are like in their 30s and 40s and 50s, who can just be like, you know what, like, I like you, you like me, let's make this decision together, and let's just get married within 1 month of knowing each other. That's the only people that it works for. It's going to work for people who just have like a very clinical and logical way of thinking, where they're just like, I have a goal, you have a goal, and I think we can get along well. So how about we decide to sign this contract, and we establish that we will be together, and yeah, let's do this in 4 months. Like, I think that's a good enough time to be engaged and just like married. What do you think? So it works for those people. Most of us are not going to do that. Most of us aren't going to be married until we're like in our late 20s. And how long can you be a virgin? But how many of us can remain virgins or be celibate until we're 27? Like, no, it's not gonna happen. It's going to be pretty much impossible. And getting married really young is actually really not good. Statistically, people who get married too early are most likely to divorce. Just because like you step into this thing that's very serious and you have not established yourself as an adult yet. You don't have like a great sense of self yet. Your priorities and your way of thinking, your brain isn't even fully developed. Like, it's not enough time for you to develop yourself and decide to combine that with someone else. Typically the better time to get married is when you already learned how to adult, so about 25 to 30s or whatever. The other thing is, if you're dating a guy in your age group, the wait time for when you can get married is even longer. Like, you could be a 24-year-old dating another 24-year-old, and he's not going to be ready. He legit will not be financially ready. He will not be mentally ready. He will not be emotionally ready at 24 to marry you. He's gonna make you wait until he's 30. But if you're 24 and you're dating some guy who's at least 5 years older than you, then that is going to happen a whole lot faster. You're going to get married faster. But even then, waiting until marriage is really not the easiest thing to do. It's realistically not going to work out. And that's something I can't really give advice on, because that's not something I did. I'm not married, and I'm not a virgin, and I am not celibate. But what I can tell you is to do this. Before you sleep with him, before you allow him to enter your space, ask yourself, do I actually like this guy? Do I actually feel safe with him? Do I even want a relationship with him? Like, ask yourself, if he wanted to be in a relationship with me, would I even want that with him? Because a lot of the times you can sleep with a guy, you don't even like him, but because you did that thing with him, you feel so attached, and now you feel like you need to make him your boyfriend. But you don't even like him. You don't even really like who he is as a person. So you need to know your intentions. You need to know his intentions. Just ask him, what are your intentions? Do you want a relationship? If he says no, then just leave him, move on. It's not worth it. He's not going to change his mind. He's just not going to. if there's anything that you can take from this, I want you to know that your words matter and what you want matters. And if he wants to sleep with you and that's not something that you want to do, you can tell him, no, I don't want to. That is not something I want to do with you. I don't feel comfortable. And you can let it be. Just walk away. And you don't have to feel guilty. It doesn't matter how long he drove in order to hang out with you. It doesn't matter that he bought you a dinner or whatever. Like, it's not the price of you. That's not the price. A 1 hour drive and a $20 dinner is not the price of your intimacy. Like, that's not something that he just deserves. He doesn't deserve access to you like that. You have control over your body and you can tell him no. And that is all, beautiful people. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure you like, comment, share, and subscribe. Goodbye, beautiful people. I send you my love. Mwah. Bisous.